It's Laura Eubanks of Design for Serenity with your succulent tip of the day. And we naturally chose the hottest day of the year to do what we're doing. So yay us. But that's okay. Yay. I am at Cindy's in Chula Vista. You all know this installation. Those of you that are really closely following, remember that there was a trigona here that went completely sideways. It developed a fungus last year and it is just deteriorated and deteriorated and deteriorated. So we made the very hard decision to remove it, and I'm going to find something else for this spot. This is a special maintenance. Cindy is a monthly client where we come in and we weed and, we do detritus removal, but about once a year or so we need to come in, with the whip and the chair that I talk about and do some heavy lifting. So one of the things that I want to do is I want to re-stress these Aloe Cameronii. Aloe Cameronii is a bush aloe, and that's great, and I like this stand, but it is getting a little out of balance. Also, Cameronii, I've not been able to find any good ones lately at my wholesalers, which is why, to answer your question, why I haven't been using them as much. It's not that I don't love them. So the best way to tackle this when you've got a stand is to take some loppers or something with a long handle and just get in there and cut.
Why don't you cook them apart a little first?
I got it.
Nice.
Now remember, the Aloe Cameronii is tough. I've never had this one rot on me, but if you do live where you get lots of rainfall, you'll want to be sure and harden that wound off before you stick it back in the ground. So what we're going to do, Nate's going to get in there and he's going to cut off all of the rosettes.
Some more stem, like mid-stem.
He's going to cut off all the rosettes, and then we will be able to have him dig out the root ball. And that root ball can be put in your garden of death, and more pups will be generated from said root ball. If that's your jam, you feel free. But we're going to work on that, and then at the end of the day, you'll get to see how tidy this looks after we've done our resetting. I've got Greg evaluating irrigation today and just making sure everything is working effectively. Kevin is over there deadheading and grooming and just really getting in and doing the down and dirty that we don't necessarily have time for on the regular visits. Then over here, if you want to get in front, Hannah, I talked with Cindy, our client, about how she felt about this. This is the shared space. And remembering that we only do these seasonal maintenances once a season or once a year, I want to make sure that whatever I do is sustainable throughout an entire, additional 12 months and isn't going to get out of control. And this is super borderline, but we love it. So we are not going to tear into this. I may remove a couple of Cameronii just to expose the boulders that are hidden, but I will not be manipulating this whole thing. These quadricolors can stay. Look at that. I mean, you know what I've told you about this plant, how it pups. There you go. Here's 2 or 3 years of uninterrupted growth from the quadricolor. And yeah, it does stay very, very compact. Now this Aluaudia procera, Greg is also going to check the irrigation over here because this little Antisyphilitica, Euphorbia, and this Aluaudia procera just look a little thirsty, don't they? So we want to make sure that there's nothing untoward going on with the irrigation. And if there isn't and the soil is damp, then I'm just going to give these guys both a little boost with some extra H2O. All right, so in the backyard, sometimes, simple is best. This big agave and these little aloe blue elves, I haven't touched this in years. This is just a simple arrangement with a little blue-green frog, and it has stood the test of time. The Petalanthus bracteatus We've got a number of them in this garden, and there are a couple that are looking a little yellow, that aren't looking as green. The one over in the corner over there looks a little stressed. So that's another area where Greg can check the irrigation and just make sure that everything is going well there. This is stunning. See, this Aluaudia procera looks like mine in my backyard. Kind of a combo of last year's growth and, you know, some new stuff coming. Here's all the new little greens. So this is spring. It's a transitional season. And don't be alarmed if you're... Uh-oh, my OCD is kicking in. I may not be able to stop. Don't be alarmed if your Aluaudias are bipolar right now. Totally normal. Okay, we are also checking for snout weevil. We're checking for alomite. We're checking for mealybug, for scale. Anything, you know, that we see, we will treat accordingly. I do treat with a chemical since I am only here once a year. It's really important though, and one of you pointed out to me in a video that I did recently where I was treating my barrel cactus with systemic. Imidacloprid is the main ingredient in the bare tree and shrub, and that will kill pollinators. So it's important not to treat with systemic if the plant is blooming, where it's going to attract said pollinators. If the plant, like this barrel for example, is not blooming, doesn't look like it's going to anytime soon, this would be a safe time to apply that systemic. Same here with the Aloe ferox. This is a winter bloomer. It has completed its bloom cycle, so this would be a good time to treat prophylactically with a systemic against alomite for this beautiful specimen plant. Be very, very judicious. And what's going to happen here with the Cynthia Giddy? Oh, and then yeah, this crown of thorns, the Aloe ferox is kind of beaten up on it, isn't it? Bullying it a little bit. So we may do some judicious cuts with this and try and shape it up a little better. We are going to remove all of this Crassula argentea, and we are going to reset some pretty pieces because this is also eating the flower bed now. It's way too big. You are going to be so amazed at how good this looks when we dial that in. And this incredible agave cream, well, it's not a cream spike. I don't really even know what this is. It has never pupped. It's just so stunning and so lost. So we're going to move this guy over here where this agave ray of light is, where it can really be showcased a lot more effectively. We'll clean up the aloe vera. We'll limb up the petalanthus a little bit. We will, oh, here's another thing. Just proof that even Laura Eubanks doesn't bat 1,000. What a hot mess. I put a Dazzlerian longissimum in this pot because it seemed like a good idea at the time, and that is just tragic. So I am also going to find something fabulous that I can put in here instead of that and put this somewhere else. And this, you know, this might just be heat stress. This is a very hot corner of her garden, but we will check the irrigation just in case. We'll get in and do a little bit of weeding amongst the opuntias. Sorry, guys. But this is a favorite part of this installation for me. I love these Euphorbia antisyphilitica amongst these variegated opuntia. And all looks well here. This is a xeriscape. There is no irrigation, but there are some weeds. So we'll get after that. And the big elephant in the room is Luke. No, just kidding. These pilos, which decided to turn yellow on us 2 winters ago, and I figured they got too wet. They have never come out of it. We have applied fungicides. We've tried everything except altering the irrigation. So that's what we're doing today. You can see the drip line is weaving all the way through this bed. And what we're going to do, Luke is going to move it, reroute it so that the irrigation is running right along the edge to support these milii, but won't be impacting the pilos. And yes, the client does water the gutters, but not excessively. I don't think that is really impactful. And I'm so confident that it's just too much water that I'm actually going to replace these with, you guessed it, more pilos. These gutters are stressed fabulously, but they're also a little run-amucky. You know, some of these things like the crassulas are really leggy. There's some gaps. I brought some fresh plant material so that we can just kind of rehab the gutters and fluff those all up for her. And then over here, the crassula undulatas aren't really undulating like I'd like them to, and this looks sad. So we are going to check and make sure all is well over here with the irrigation. Our little Dracaena Draco, it looks good, but it's really very dwarfed. So once again, not sure about the water. And then these undulatas look extremely thirsty. So we'll check into that, see what's happening. But yeah, you know, we'll address the pots and maybe refresh or fluff up some topsoil or some top dressing if needed, and basically just have a day's work cut out for us.
You're done. You're done, you know.
Enjoy while you can, because it's not going to get as pretty as what you can later. Right?
Okay, so we are wrapping it up for today in Chula Vista. My apologies for not doing a lot of outtakes. I had to drive to Escondido to get plants, and it's been hot as balls. So we got the pups removed from the Mediopicta. We treated the mealybug in the aloe. We planted a brand new Hercules in place of the Trigona. And this big stand of Cameronii got dug up, and the 3 prettiest ones got reset. And in another week, those are going to be bright red. I also pulled out that hot mess of cotyledon right here, and I planted the agave ray of light. This is a great little foxtail. If you're looking for something smaller that's not going to get, you know, giant, the ray of light is a really good choice. Oh yeah, we have some really cool pots too in this garden. This is a aloe dichotoma or quiver tree underplanted with a agave rum runner, just like the one I put in my garden yesterday, and then top dressed with little jade pebbles in a kind of bluish green pot. It's stunning. That's a really pretty pot. And it was kind of an accident because something was in there, and it's had a few iterations, but I think we finally nailed it. Then just a Talavera pot of crazy here, and then we've got a little Trigona back here with some blue elf. Those are super sustainable pots. She doesn't really need to do anything with them. Over here, I threw some water on the Aluaudia procera and that little Euphorbia antisyphilitica. The soil wasn't dry, so I don't know. It's not irrigation. I think maybe they just needed a little boost. So, you know, I cut away a couple of the of the Cameronii to expose those boulders a little bit more, and I did find some aloe mite on some of them. So we disposed of the ones with mite and then treated systemically. Remember, if you treat with a systemic, not when the plant is in bloom, because the active ingredient imidacloprid will kill pollinators. So if your plant is in bloom and you really feel like you need to treat it, cut off the bloom. Okay? All right. Moving on. Okay, you know, didn't need to do anything here. And over here, well, let's start over here. Oh, because Dad's over there? All right, we'll start over here. I had Hannah pull out all of these Aloe Dorothiae. They were like just laying on top of the ground, and they were kind of rotted. So I cut off all the rot, cleaned up to clean tissue, brought in more soil, and had Hannah plant them. This, you know, we thought about maybe trying to work with the milii here, but it was such a hot mess that we just took it out. And I think this is a lot better just with a little Talavera snail, because sometimes less is indeed more. Also, you know, we should probably get rid of this Portulacaria too, because look at what's happening. Look at how it's so stemmy in the back, and the trunk is showing, and then all the greenery is right at the sidewalk, and then it just keeps having to get cut. So that's probably not the most bestest place for that, and I will have regular maintenance take care of that next time. We dug up all the jade. And also, Luke, if you could grab those weeds from underneath that Dazzlerian longissimum, that would be wonderful. We cut up the Argentea and reset it. It looks so tight, so good right there. And also cleaned up the Bicarnia recurvata, pulled all the dead fronds off of the bottom of that. And moved that little agave from here over to here, and it just looks so much better. I love it against the aloe vera. I think that looks so good. Oh yes, also limbed the Petalanthus bracteus nicely, so it looks terrific. Yeah, all of the Petalanthus got a little haircut. And we took that longissimum that I had in this blue pot out, and I put a Peruvianus Montrose in here instead. Really happy with that. And then this Aloe Cameronii cutting is going to go right here. This had something in it, I don't remember what, but it looked terrible, so took that out. There's a different kind of aloe. So we'll just give that a shot and see how that does right there instead. The Anti-Syphilitica and cactus bed got all weeded and cleaned, and it looks really good. And
Oh wait,
okay, then over here, oopsie, a lot of work happened over here today. Had to dig up all of those yellow pilos and pull up the irrigation, and then I went and bought new pilos, and they're really tiny. It's so funny because these were little 1 gallon Euphorbia millii when I put them in originally, and they've gotten so big. But I'm really hopeful that these little cactus are going to do well. When we dug up the other cactus that were yellow, I didn't see anything alarming at all in the soil. It wasn't wet. There weren't any bugs. It didn't stink. You know, so I don't know, exactly what happened there, but I'm confident in the fact that we did move the irrigation to the front of the bed, and I'm hopeful that now all will be well with the pilos. Kevin and I worked on the gutters, tightening them up. They look so good. Really, once you have established gutters, there's not really a whole lot that you need to do. It's just a little bit of tweaking that's usually required. And over here, we found that the irrigation was operating, appropriately. So I think that this area is just really, really hot. And when I have the crew come do regular maintenance, I think I'll have them give it a little additional water from the hose just to get it going. And then I think we'll be good. And then this Myrtillo cactus cristata was actually mine. And I gave it to Cindy for her pot. And it's so fun to see it and visit every time I come here. I haven't been able to find another one since, but I am hopeful. And, my Pachypodium lemerii and golden beryl, I just love that combo so much. We've got these cute little mammillarias there. I think in time they should crest and spread and really fill that pot full. Personally, I love bling with cactus. That's just me. Do you, but I just love that look. And then, this succulent vine, this coin plant, has found its way all the way up. This isn't stuck on here with any kind of support. It has just found its own way. It's so funny. And these little cactus, I believe these are, aren't these? Well, maybe not. I was going to say, I thought these might be Straussii, but they still might be. It's just really shady right here, and that might be why they're so skinny. But that's so cool. This little unit here is so nice. You can kind of see the before the scenes, or I guess, gosh, I'm sorry. I'm so tired and hot. Kind of between, what do you call it? Behind the scenes, yes. Here's some aloe ruticope with a bunch of alomite on it that I yanked out of here.
With your clippers.
Yeah, well, I always sterilize my clippers at the end of the day anyway, when I'm dealing with this. So yeah, that came out, and we're in the process of just raking up and cleaning up. We've got a lot of leftover Argentea sunset to work in somewhere else, and because this aloe vera is just starting to throw off a bunch of blooms, I was hesitant to shrink it. But next time we will take and dig all of this up and pull off pups and reset like we did the Camerooni's out back. And here are more of her gutter gardens that have been rehabbed. These are, they're wild and woolly, but I just think it's so pretty. I love the look, so I just encourage that. It has been a fantastic day. Cindy's garden is absolutely one of my favorites. It's spectacular, and she is a great plant mom. Tomorrow, Hannah and I are going to be in Lakeside, and we were thinking about heading over to the clients at 10 a.m., but I think I'm going to suggest 9 because tomorrow is actually supposed to be hotter than today, and Lakeside is inland. We have to go over there and dig up a agave blue glow that I'm pretty sure has snout weevil. So I'll take you on that journey and show you. We'll see if I'm right. We'll dig it up and we'll take a look. We'll treat it if necessary. And then I've got a really cute one in my garden that I'm going to take over and give her. It's, in my little Laura Eubanks foster program. But until then, I have been looking forward to doing this all dang day. Your turn. Oh, that feels like a bathtub. It's fantastic. You must have it.
Go get him. Good dad.
Whoa.